Welcome back. Uh, Today I want to start with two little stories that you might find appropriate or you might be able to relate to them in some way. First story. Okay, I'm at the doctor's office. I go up to the counter to check in, and after waiting for the receptionist to finish her phone conversation, I give her my name and tell her that I'm there for my doctor's appointment. Her eyes stay focused on her computer. She checks my status, and then she says to me, "Now, the last time you were here, you dislocated your shoulder. Is that right?" I said, "No, because this is my first time. I've never been here before." Okay, so she frowns a little, doesn't take her eyes off the computer, and then she says, "And your primary language is Russian." Well, now I'm a little confused because I've been speaking to her in English. I had no idea why she thought my primary language was Russian. But again, I said to her, "No, that's incorrect." Uh, and I'm really wondering who she's got me confused with. But she never looks up from her computer screen, uh, as if I'm not even there. And then I'm really not sure she's heard me at all, but I continue to stand there a little befuddled, wondering if I should go out the door and come in again, until she says to me, "Okay, please take a seat. Dr. Smith will be with you momentarily." Well, then I looked completely blank because I said to her, "Who is Dr. Smith?" And she says, "Dr. Smith is your primary care doctor. That's who you're here to see." Well, then I said, "I don't know, Dr. Smith." That's when she finally took her eyes off the computer and looked at me for the first time. Finally, I think I got her attention. Second story, and later we're going to look at the connection between these two stories. Second story, a coworker is sitting in my office talking to me about the statistical plans for building a new building. And I have to admit, I never heard a word that she said because my mind was completely somewhere else. Suddenly, she asked me a question about something that she had said, and I can't answer because I've been pretending to listen for the past 15 minutes, but I had really and completely zoned out. Now, the two stories have something in common. And what they have in common is listening. Listening is not exactly the same as hearing. Listening and hearing are two very distinct actions. Hearing is the act of receiving a sound. You can close your eyes to avoid seeing. You can pinch your nose to avoid smelling. You can shrink away to avoid being touched. But your ears have no flaps on them. So the structure of your ears suggests that for your own protection, your ears should never be closed, even when you sleep. Because you cannot close your ears, you receive and hear sounds constantly. But listening is a lot more than hearing. Listening is a skill. And just because a person is speaking does not necessarily mean that there's someone listening. Listening, as I said, is a skill, and it's often hard work. It's not easy. It requires us to give another person our attention. And knowing how to listen well is a good part of being kind. Listening is clearly an essential skill for effective communication. And the best way to improve our listening skills is to practice. And one way that we can practice the art of listening is to place ourselves in another person's shoes. We can try to enter the conversation from the other person's perspective. It would not be a good idea to consider ourselves smarter than the other person or to think that we already know what they're going to say. But we can also practice listening by praying for the grace of a listening heart. Because listening requires not only good ears, but a listening heart. We have plenty of examples of that in the scripture. In fact, the word heart is found in the scriptures 743 times. That says something. We can read about the prophets too in the scriptures who continually urge people to listen. So perhaps we can try to do a little more listen and a little less talk. Remember, we have 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. Okay, thank you for coming. See you next time.